Welcome to the TalkTrack at the Bar Horse. Float 8, Governor Ginger, our weekly conversations in the bar. Remember, the TalkTrack is a proud production of the Car Junkies on the Bar Horse, brought to you. It's produced by Morris, edited by Morris, and sound mixed by Morris, and presented by me, the Village Man.
How are you, village man?
I'm alright, how are you doing?
The village is how?
The cows are not cowing, the goats are not goating, but regardless, we move. So
You
today,
guys, I'm beginning to doubt your status as a village man.
you just accept it. That's you see, and that brings us into the topic of today, which is the prompt for today is play the role that life has assigned you. Okay. You know, I think that the unpredictability of life, sometimes thrusts into a position where you have to play a role for the rest of your life. Okay. And it's not like an active, it's not a passive acceptance of the role that life is going to give you, but it can sort of, it can be a very active, it's not a passive acceptance, but an active acceptance of the role that life thrusts in onto your path. So that's what we're talking about today. And we're going to talk about sometimes life puts you in a role, and you might not recognize the opportunities or any of that. So, Roina, has life put you in a role recently that you've come to accept and sort of look for opportunities in that, or for you just passing through?
But this life also, they say when they give you lemons, but apparently we invented them. So, so I think most of us really, we find ourselves in situations or like into roles. Life assigns us roles we're probably not prepared for or don't expect. Yeah. However prepared you are, however organized you are, sometimes the role, you're like, this role. But like, you see, they say there's nothing that the universe gives to you that you cannot handle. Even in the moments where you think it's going to be the hardest thing. Yeah. For some reason, it's like you reach a point, you're like, oh, how did I get through this? How did I do this? How did I manage this? Yeah. You know, you find that you have certain skills that you've never known you have. Yeah. your level of patience that you've never known you have. Yeah. So I think in most cases when life assigns you roles, we find ourselves, unless we're stubborn, we find ourselves fitting into these roles without even realizing we've taken on these roles. Because you have a choice anyway. Yeah. You know? It's like, for example, where we are now and what we're talking about, seeing Morris's technology, these things. Someone must have thought, I want my life easier. Before we got the microphone, someone must have thought, but when I speak, village man can't hear me from those ends, you know? So we get into life assigns us roles, and then how best we get around those roles or work with the opportunities that the role has placed us into. I think it's the identification. If you can't identify the opportunity, but sometimes that role is the opportunity. You see, that's how there's growth, that's how there is inventions, that's how there's change in characters. And you see, someone will meet you and say, this is not the village man I knew 5 years ago.
That is true.
But because the role that life has assigned you is what you have decided to settle into. Yeah.
TalkTrack at the Bar House. It's usually 30-minute conversation. Kara Junkies. Yeah, the mic can move around if you want to contribute. If you feel like you have something to say. Okay, so today the prompt is play the role that life assigns you, you know. The unpredictability of life sometimes thrusts into roles that you're not expecting, or some roles that you have to settle into for a very long time. What do you think about that? Do you think you can identify opportunities in the things that life throws at you, in the roles that life tells you to play? Because, you know, life is a movie, eh? You're the main actor. Sometimes the role they give you, you might not be okay with it, and you might sulk for the rest of your life. Or sometimes you might be smart enough to identify an opportunity in that role. So that's what we're talking about today. In case the alcohol moves your tongue to contribute.
That's the plan.
As the Joshua is thinking, I'm trying to see the road that life has thrown at me. It's actually this mic today, speaking right now. So I'm wondering, what should I do with this microphone? Should I be good at it or should I be bad at it? I think it's the same thing that applies when you get opportunities in life. I might be sitting here when I actually don't know what special skills I have. But at some point in life, this role comes onto, and then I just grab it. And through trial, I get better at it. For example, Village Man is seated right back there. He's doing his thing. And that is a role he doesn't actually know that it can grow into something. Someone here can identify him. I know. Someone here might see him and is like, you know what, you're good. I'm going actually to put money into you. I'm going to invest in you. And I'm going to help you to grow bigger. So as life throws roles and opportunities at us, it's also one sign of growth. It helps us to grow. It helps us to see ourselves changing in our daily lives. I think for now, that's it. Thank you.
So, yeah. And I suppose that brings us into the segue.
Also, life
Yeah.
can throw a role at you, but it might come in a negative way, because I was talking about the positive part. In a negative way, you can choose to either take it to your advantage or use it to the worst part of it. Do you want the negative part to affect how you grow, or do you want the positive part to affect how you grow? So it might be negative, but at the same time, it can be a good lesson for you for your progress. Thank you.
So, as we
send the
move into
microphone.
that, why do you think people reject certain roles that life gives them? It doesn't have to be a negative or positive thing. It could be something that you can identify an opportunity in. Yeah, so, yeah, how do you find a balance between resisting and accepting, you know?
Okay, I wanted to start from where you guys talked before. I'll speak for myself. I came to Ginger for something totally different. But here I am. I have gained family at Barrow House. I am doing something, I'm chasing a passion that I loved a long time ago. It's not the easiest journey yet, but that's what life has thrown at me. I am making literally lemonade out of the lemons that life has thrown at me.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. It wasn't easy. It's not easy still. Yeah, but here we are.
Here we
What
are.
was your other question, Village Man?
So how do you strike a balance between rejecting and accepting certain roles that life might throw at you? How do you sort of find a balance with what's good, what you think might probably push you towards a certain point in your life, or it could be for example, it could be a really good opportunity that comes your way, but you don't think it's good for you long term. And then it might be an opportunity that might not seem as exciting in the moment that you might accept at the expense of the other one. So how do you navigate that conflict? And yeah, talk us through it.
I'll say this. I have learned to first of all experience. I'm lucky that I've lived life and I have grown. But also I listen less, I think, to my heart now, but to my mind more. if it makes sense, regardless of how I feel, if it's good for me, I will do it. Like, I'll put my feelings aside. I'm like, it makes sense. Can I do it? For me, that's how I do it. Other people do feelings more, but I realize when I put my feelings and say, oh, but now you see, but family will see this and think, but is it a good decision? It is. Is it a hard decision? Yes. So you go ahead and do it.
Okay, can I respond to that though? Because
Yes,
see, I was
and,
going to say, but is it easy also?
Yeah.
Like how do you know? You get it?
Yeah.
Until you get there sometimes, or before you get there, these are the decisions that are hard. So sometimes you can't even tell or know. But for some reason you're like, I'm taking this decision.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we get there and then realize that, okay, no, I don't want to take this path, or I want to take this. That is why some people quit.
Yeah.
But then, yes, and that's because they get there, and because sometimes you don't even know that life has thrown at you something. By the way, sometimes you don't even know. Sometimes it comes wrongly packaged. Sometimes you're just in its point in your life where you're still trying to understand your journey.
And I have
Yes.
I have a follow-up question for that. How do you handle transitions, in the roles that evolve in your time, in your life over
Okay,
time? How
she
do you
was
handle
saying-
that transitions? It could be career, it could be a relationship, it could be
She was
anything.
saying she uses the mind more than her emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't use the word emotions. I want to use the word my sixth sense, my gut feeling. There's that person. Yes. So I listen to the inner me,
Yeah.
the Rowena that we could be here talking, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, but I'm going to listen to the inner me.
Yeah.
So some people will call that emotion, some people will call that a sixth sense, some people will call that a gut feeling, But I always listen to that inner, that person that's always in there somewhere. They're never wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but it's never wrong. Usually we go back and say, I should have actually done this. I actually thought about it.
Yeah.
So I am a very I don't use the word sensitive, but I think I'm connected to my inner self a lot. That's why I do things how I want to do them. Usually people say I'm rebellious and what, but that's just who I am. Because if it feels right, the mind, by the way, because we're always calculating things, okay, now sometimes we are off on calculations, but that inner Rowena there, those things, you can, it's like I don't know what it is really. It tells, thank you. So for me, I usually listen to that. That's why you see, if anyone knows me, they know how I do my things. I just sort of get into something. Some people even ask, did you think about it? I actually did. It may not be, I'm looking into the math, will this, will that. I go with, I think this is going to work. And if it doesn't, you always find a way around something.
TalkTrack at the Barrel House. That is Joshua on the microphone. The Oracle of the East.
According to me, I think usually I weigh through the pros and cons of what I'm deciding, and according to me, what has more advantages than the disadvantages is what I go with usually. I try to give it the best of what I can offer.
Yeah.
It's better for me to say I tried it and it didn't work out, other than saying had I, other than living regret. Yeah, so I take the bull by the horns.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of you are speaking about your inner gut feelings,
I want to ask Joshua.
But okay, before you ask him, and that will take us into the next sort of. So how much of the roles we play are shaped by like societal expectations? Because a lot of you are like, this is what I feel, but I also feel like at some point most of us play certain roles because that's what society expects of us. But in the meantime, if I ask Joshua.
That's Joshua. So the pros and cons, you see, you can be like the advantages are more, and the disadvantages are quite fewer. But what if they are bigger? You see, it can be one problem. Hey, it's huge.
I think I can answer for Josh. For Joshua's case, actually, after ascertaining the pros and the cons, I think one thing we have to understand is acknowledgement and acceptance of what is going on. When you're able to weigh and you see the pros and then you also look at the cons, so you're able to see through transformation of these roles, so you're able to accept. Once you accept something, that's another step for you. You're able to go ahead. If you're living in denial, then you're going to be tortured. Yes, that is it. And Village Man, you had mentioned something. The last question is?
So, how much of the roles do we play are shaped by what society expects of us?
I think in our culture here, as Africans, where we sit, most of the things we do, decision making, our culture, the way we behave, the way we think is mostly influenced by our society here. But it's up to us to wake up and you're like, yes, the society says if Joshua is my senior, I should be like just doing what Joshua is saying, despite it being harmful to the next person I'm supposed to be maybe offering help. Let's say you're handling someone's life, and I'm your senior. We are talking in terms of the medical people. And then I'm your senior, but I've made a mistake. But in society, the senior is always right. I, as Joshua, I know what the senior has done is actually going to put this patient, this client, at risk. How can I step up to make sure this person sees that what they're doing is going to be harmful to this person? Yes, society is influencing it, but we are changing it actually. The current generation, we are changing that. As long as you feel like it's true, you have to stand your ground with confidence and provide your rationale for every decision you're making. Thank you.
Beautiful. So, how do you, whoever is ready, how do you create? So, yeah, and I have a follow-up question, from what Sarah was saying,
Okay. But
So
I
how
also
do you,
think.
yeah.
Sorry. Oh,
No,
I thought you
my
asked me
question.
now. Eh?
Yeah, let me
Okay.
ask it so it goes into. So, how do you create a space, to Don? How do you create how do you create a space, for, for you to for you to make the role that you've been assigned or the role that you have, your own? Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a backbencher who's very active, but also, you see, sometimes the society thing is true, but you do realize most of us have people in our lives that somehow, for some reason, the universe, another person will use the word God, has placed you in a certain spot, position, without you even realizing it. We've seen people like that. And the amount of change you bring to the people all around you, the effect, just your existence around people who are around you, because the universe has stationed you in that particular spot. You get it? Quite often, yes, we'll say society, but some people were born to do certain things. And I'm a believer in that. Some people were born to be something, to be. That is why village man is village man, Rowena is Rowena, Don is Don, Joshua is Joshua, Emma is Emma. Because everyone comes on here for a particular purpose. We are just not here roaming around, I think. So some roles, you're actually on here for that role. So, yes, you're not roaming around. So I think also, as much as society has a role to play, some people, there are people we see as natural leaders. They exist, they're there. Everyone will go to that person. So what should I do? So what should, And then that is why society comes up with certain rules and norms and what, because of the people who have actually been exemplary to that, or in regards to certain things. Then you talked about.
So, how do you create a space for your own identity within the role you've been assigned?
To be honest, like I said, I know it's hard, and I think the generation we're having today is trying to do that, though for some reason it's not being done correctly. You know, we're sort of neglecting the important things as well. I think if we teach the people around us, the young ones, because now for us really we're now living. It's okay. We shall live with what we have.
Right, 8 years, yeah.
But I think if we look into how best to help people identify themselves, yeah, who am I as a person? What do I bring to the table? We are tired of a world where I have to first tell you that you're capable. How about you figure out who you are as a person? I think for most of, I don't know, for me, that's my driver. Sometimes I don't wait to be told. I could be wrong, but that's what has driven me to maybe the point I've reached, because I'm telling myself, you know what, you can do this, you can do that, regardless of this, you can be able to handle this and that. So I think now it's upon us, because we talked about society. Though we are sort of doing it wrong, we are over pampering, yeah? In the process of telling someone how awesome they are,
Let's break that down. Yeah? What do you mean by over pampering?
we're over pampering. You see, it's okay to tell, like, for example, a child, oh, you're brilliant, you're smart, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, and we leave it at that. That's the problem we're having. But at the same time, we need to tell them, no, but by the way, you're good at this, but for you to achieve the greater potential of who you are, you need to put in this. You get? You need to put in the work. You need to be good, a good person overall, like how you deal with people, your social skills. Remember, social skills is your, what we would call your social capital. And for most people, we go to school, we are told if you know the math, if you know the English, if you know the what, you get your first class, you're good to go. Thank you, darling. But we are forgetting that when you get out there, that math, that English, that history, that whatever it is that we know, your economics, it's going to be much more relevant if you're dealing with someone who's actually good. Because you see, like they say, it's old, it's cliche, you know. But no man is an island. The problem is now we are raising kids who think they are Superman. So basically, someone walks into an office, they don't know that I need to work with Sarah, they don't know I need to work with Emma, I need to work with Dawn. Someone just walks in there, man, like, the world will stop for me if I stop.
Yeah.
So that's how we go wrong. But I think identifying that potential, knowing the potential, it means anything that life throws at you, it's okay to break down. But when you get up, that alone makes you a super being. You know, getting up is the whole thing. Breaking down, and we need to normalize knowing that things can't always go the way we want them. But the getting up part, my grandfather used to say, try and fail, but don't fail to try. Yes.
Yes, Joshua. So how do you navigate? Yes.
So I wanted to say something on the society. I feel like society is. I feel like when we speak about society, it's more culture. It's like, I feel like the two are the same, but not the same. While culture is good, I feel like we're also constantly evolving, and I feel like we need to find a balance. That's why I'm obsessed with Gen Zs. They know what they want. They chase it. They are very defiant, because us as millennials, okay, I'm assuming most of us here are millennials. Yes. So, I mean, who has conversations? But I like that they're just changing the narrative. I feel like us, we are just followers. They say you do this, you do that. We just follow, and I think it's okay to incorporate, like, you say rebel. Like, it's okay to be a rebel, but with respect. Like, yes, like, leave that one. but like just, I don't know, live your best life, but with respect to the people that you share society with. Yes.
I've actually remembered something. It's a brief one. When you said something about identifying potential, actually, it brought me to think about the soft skills that we need in our daily living. As you're talking about the millennials, I think it's more of the soft skills coming in. Us as the millennials, we are used to, if something that is actually related to society as well, the society is telling you do this, so you think, if I'm Joshua and I'm told I'm in this class and the other class is doing basketball and the same for this, but as you said, rebel as well, as soft skills, you're like, you know what, yes, I'm in this class, but I feel like I have the potential, I have the soft skill to do something the other side. So how do you jump on it? Sometimes you don't have to wait for life to throw you a role. You don't have to wait for life to show you that this is where you're supposed to go. You grab it, you see it, you take it, you show up for it. And then that is how we see steady progress and growth in us. Thank you.
So as we wrap up,
Is that why we're having electric cars?
Actually, we are going to that, but I'm sure in other developed countries, those cars are being charged enough, apart from Uganda and our potholes.
so as we wrap up, I suppose if everyone wants to contribute, what piece of advice, what piece of advice would you give someone who's struggling to accept the role or their circumstances in life at the present? It could be advice towards being elevating that station or whatever. As we wrap up, yes, please.
Thank you. I think it's been a good discussion. On my side, I feel like we have to be dynamic in how we look at life, because today you could be a CEO somewhere. Tomorrow you're an innovator, coming up with an app. The next day you're a farmer. So it's interesting to be dynamic and also not let yourself keep yourself in a box of sorts. So to say, I did engineering at university or ICT and that's my line. No. You could be a fabulous engineer, but also a very good MC, for example. So I think we have to be multi-talented, but also dynamic in life to really keep ourselves going with the trends as well. Because if the Gen Zs and the likes are coming up and you want to stay relevant, you need to go with what's going on. Yes. So I think that's the thing, and we need to keep building our skills. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, if anyone has another piece of advice for anyone, who's, in whatever role they're in or anything like that. As we wrap up, yeah, we are making it brief, okay? We are wrapping it up, yeah? Yeah.
I don't wrap it up. Okay, can I wrap up and give everyone else to wrap up? Because I want to see if So, I think so in the end, I think like what Duncan has said as well, all of us have traded the almost similar line tonight. Quite interesting. But like overall, sometimes the role is thrown at you. Sometimes you don't wait for the role, like Sarah said. Duncan has said improving skill, looking at how best can we get better with ourselves. Because sometimes, like she said, the soft skills, you can't even, there's people who are very talented but can't identify. Or when the opportunity comes, someone says, wait, how do I go about this? Some people, it's even fear. Some people, it's unknown experiences or maybe no experience in that kind of world or field or whatever. But I want to say one thing. Whatever actually where we are now, we are all in roles that we are playing, whether we liked it or we didn't like it. Somehow, like you said, we are characters in a book or a movie, and we are playing roles, yes? And those roles, like you mentioned, you could be a main character, but sometimes you're not a main character. Have we thought about what your role is as a supporting actor, in this, because like she said, you can be rebellious, you can want to do things, you can say, okay, here's the opportunity, but how about the people around you? How best do you then engage? I think those are now the social skills we talked about. Because some people are too ambitious, We talked about being lonely at the top last time. Yeah. So I think it's an all-round, it's important to be all-round. And that's why we said yes. The Gen Z's, okay, yes. Maybe it's also a bit old-fashioned. I'll disagree. I agree, but I also disagree. I agree that they're out there, they're pushing the boundaries, they're pushing the limits. But the problem is they're forgetting to be all round, to understand the bare minimum of being a person. Like if Sarah is here and then there's a Rowena and then there's a Joshua, there's a Emma, you get it? How do you then live within your I am me, but within a society? Because also you can't live alone.
Yeah, I actually like the topic because basically where we are seated, I'm sure we all have roles that life has brought to us. Some of us are actually doing things we didn't even go to school for, but simply because life happened and we showed up for it. Yeah, so I would just encourage everyone, whenever an opportunity shows up, let's not be afraid to take it on. You never know that is something that you've been waiting for. Joshua, you have something?
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, Joshua says we should have the balls to grab everything that life brings to us.
There we go.
Thank you.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. The Talk Track is brought to you by Car Junkies and the Bar House, produced by Morris, edited by Morris, sound mixed by Morris, and presented by me, the Village Man. To quote my favorite movie, Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates. You just never know what you're gonna get. Thank you so much. Have a lovely night.